Hello and welcome to this edition of Tips and Tricks. Now today I'm going to be talking about losing your bait. And no, I don't mean, drop it in the water or not being able to find it or going to cast and breaking it off. I mean when you're actually fishing it, suddenly it feels like you lost your bait. Now this usually happens on soft plastics or jigs, drop shot, flicking, weightless, or, jigs along the bottom. And it basically feels like you're losing your bait. And this might help a lot of new to bass fishing people, or even sometimes I'm duped by it. And what happens when you lose your bait is you're out there and you're fishing and you're working it. And usually, and a lot of times, it's when you come over something, like over a rock or through some branches, and you go over some branches and you feel them and you kind of pull it over and it drops and you kind of reel in the slack, and all of a sudden you pick up and it feels like you lost your bait. It feels like somebody actually just clipped it off. Well, usually that's because as you came over that and as it dropped, the fish picked it up and the fish is swimming at you. And swimming at you, and you're like, well, but I watched my line and I let it drop till it got tight. And then when I start, well, since that fish is doing that and the resistance in the water and the arc, yeah, it looks like you waited for it to drop to the bottom, but it didn't really hit the bottom because that fish picked it up along the way and swimming at you. So when you're going like this, you're just pulling on the line that's leading back to the fish that's already going somewhere else. And at that point, you should reel in until you feel the fish and set the hook. I'm telling you, it happens all the time. I mean, it could also happen on active bait, like a spinnerbait or a crank. You're reeling it in and you feel the wobble, all of a sudden it disappears, like you caught a weed or, something fouled it. And you're like, what? And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, it's back. Well, the fish had it, was swimming, spit it out, and you totally missed it. And in that case, like I said, if suddenly it doesn't cost anything, just try and set the hook, because suddenly you might be like, where the hell did my blade go? And you go like that and go, oh shit, it's a fish. So yeah, losing your bait. I said it happens a lot. The other day I was at Nacimiento with my friends and I was flicking and we were kind of on steeper 45 degree and I kept throwing it out and worked it through the rocks and feeling it, and all of a sudden I go, uh-oh, I lost my bait. And they're like, what? And all of a sudden I'd reel down and sure enough, fish swim with it, and I'd set the hook and go, oh yeah, this is a good one. So just be aware of that. Like I said, when you're working it, like I said, suddenly it just feels like, where'd my weight go? Where'd my bait go? When that happens, don't just be like, oh, all right, well, reel down, feel the fish, set the hook. Hope this helps. Till next time.